Welcome to my show. A guest here. His name is Keith Greer. Mr. Kate, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well today. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you very much. And also, thank you so much for the time and the opportunity. Firstly, you are an executive coach. You are also a family therapist and a trainer. Can you please, Mr. Kate, discuss more about yourself and how you are doing currently now, Mr. Kate?
Yeah, so I've enjoyed uh, a really blessed 42-year career. I say in the helping professions. Um, as you said, I started off in the more traditional clinical world as a clinical social worker and had a family therapy practice for a bunch of years. And then I want to say maybe about 20-ish years ago, I started reading about coaching and just became enamored with what I was reading as to what the coaching conversation brings to change and to supporting people. So went back, got a whole bunch of training in that area, and transformed what was a clinical practice into a coaching business. And now, fast forward to today, as you said, I'm an executive coach, and I work in the corporate world, the not-for-profit world. I have a bit of a niche of working with family-owned businesses, bringing together that executive coaching and family therapy experience, which is a lot of fun. And I have a bit of a specialty in working with individuals, with teams around some of the most updated thinking in the neuroscience world of how we communicate, how certain conversational patterns and strategies that we might use. A lot of my work is with leaders when used, either cause people's brains to say, I trust you, I want to be with you, or cause people's brains to view you as threat and not safe, and I don't trust you as far as I can throw you.
Completely agree. It is 100% not easy to have a lot of activities with the family and all the other executive parts of your career, and also including something that will also impact us in one way or the other, communication. Communication plays a very, very powerful role in every single one of us life and also view us, make people see us as a reflection of who we really are. And I also like to drive to the point whereby, in the
Yes.
perspective of the experience you've had, Mr. Kate, have you written any book or do you plan to write any book in the coming future, Mr. Kate?
It's so funny you asked that. I think about that all the time. Um, I want to say yes, and although it is not presently on the to-do calendar coming up soon, I realize from in talking to people I know who have written, it takes a great deal of discipline, and and uh, and again, I think about it often. I appreciate the question because I think about it again. So I want to think somewhere maybe in the next couple of years I will. In the meantime, I love just meeting with people like you and talking about this world of communication.
Exactly. Communication is one of the most vital things that can help us. Despite the technology that has come on a rise, we have to know what we write. We have to know
Yes.
how we say it. It is very important because that is what is going to bring out the reflection of who we are. And that is where I would like to drive to the point of where many listeners could not be or might not be in their position to realize that conversation can either become or activate the nervous system. So, what do you think actually happens in the brain and the body during a conversation when someone feels safe versus threatened, Mr. Kate?
All right, so I'm going to start on the other side of that question of what happens when somebody doesn't feel safe, because the two are obviously very closely connected. When people interact with us in a way, well, let me back up. When people interact with us, the primary mechanism in our brain, the primary responsibility of our brain is to always be on the lookout for threat. It's the basis of our fight, flight, freeze, appease process. I would make the argument that this process in our brain is the only reason human beings still walk the face of the earth, because it is so finely tuned. And anytime it perceives threat, certain things go on in our brain to get us ready to fight or run. So the opposite of that is there are conversational strategies that people can use that actually land in the brain differently. They cause other people's brains to say, oh, I can trust you. I feel safe with you. I feel included. I feel heard. When people do that, when people use those particular strategies, they then activate the front of our brain. So the prefrontal cortex, which houses all of these capacities we need to truly and authentically connect with other people, to do good work, to problem solve. If I can be there, then you and I can connect. But for me to be there, front of my, I call it the front of my brain, I need to not perceive you as threat. And I'm going to go just one step further. So I use the word, perception. In the neuroscience world, there's the concept of neuroception. So neuroception is much faster than perception. So if you and I were interacting in a way and I was perceiving you as threatening, that perception comes into my awareness happens much later than how quickly my brain perceives you as a threat. So the number you sometimes hear is as soon as people start to interact, zero point zero 0.07 seconds is how quickly our brain is determining, can I trust you or not?
I sincerely appreciate your beautiful insight, Mr. Kate. To be honest with you, it shows that no matter who we try our best to encounter in life, or no matter who we are trying to give the sense of conversation, or also meeting for the first time, it always sparks something in the nervous system, which is our brain, to see if it's someone we can actually
Yes,
trust. Most especially if it's something that deals with personality or financial status or stuff like that. What usually spark is, can I actually trust this person? Because despite how we are, despite the career or every success that we have in life, the most important thing is the trust. Because the trust is what is going to build to a certain stage
yes,
whereby they can be in the position to say, this person can be someone that we could trust. And for us to build that, one of
yes,
the most important parts, which we've had the discussion earlier, is how we give the communication, how we present ourselves, how they see us, and I will also bring out this conversation in one way or the other. And that is why I will also like to drive to tone, pace, and also body language as well. What role do you think tone, pace, and also body language play in how the brain intercepts or interprets conversation, sometimes more than the word themselves, Mr. Kate?
great question. So, depending upon the research you read, the thinking is that all of the nonverbals, so my body, tone, inflection, things like that, all of the nonverbals make up 90 to 97% of how we actually communicate with each other at any given moment. The content of our words is secondary. So let's start with a really basic fact. In communication, if I perceive a discrepancy between what you are saying and your nonverbals, so discrepancy between verbal and nonverbal, 100% of the time, we will go with the nonverbal. So if I say to you, for example, hey, I'm really listening to you, I'm really interested in what you have to say, but I say that and I have a phone in front of me that I'm looking at, you will go with the nonverbal. The nonverbal will say, no, no, you're not listening to me. And because there's a discrepancy now, I don't even know if I can trust you. So we need to start with just even thinking about, are my nonverbals aligned with my verbals? If I really truly and authentically want to connect with you. If once so, things like eye contact, normal eye contact, not like I'm staring you down, right? Normal contact. My body is facing you. It's somewhat relaxed. As you're talking with me, you can see on my face anything from I'm nodding or a uh-huh, or all of those little nonverbals that say to you, oh, Keith's with me. He is truly listening to me. I'm not distracted. I'm not somewhere else. I'm not interrupting you. Interruption is one of the worst conversational practices, and in the workplace we see it all the time. At around the dinner table we see it all the time. So I, if I am truly invested in communicating well with you, connecting with you, then I'm fully present. I'm present with my body as well as whatever the words are that are coming out of my mouth.
I sincerely appreciate the beautiful insight, Mr. Kate. When we have conversations with people, despite the world of technology that we have, the world of virtual as we are doing currently now, it shows that there are little things that one has to also observe along the way. And if we have everything free within us, if we do not have burden, and we're also 100% honest, we should be able to connect 100% well with the other side, and the other side will be able to see it that this person is actually listening, and this person is actually following up and also trying to build a trust that will be something that will be more impactful and also something that will be more stronger along the way. It's not something we can do
Yes.
from, it's not something that we can get restricted on, but we can try our best to be 100% honest and also bring ourselves to the table as someone who's trying to make an offer with a sense of respect. It will be something that will also help us along the way. I sincerely appreciate you for that beautiful insight, Mr. Kate. I would just like to
Thank
drive
you.
to the point of curiosity. I would like to
Yes.
give us more insight in that perspective. How do you think curiosity acts as a neurological signal of safety? And why do you think it's open up or it opens people up more effectively than persuasion or pressure, Mr. Kate?
Beautiful point. All right. So, pressure, I'm going to convince you, never works. It never works. It sets alarm bells off in people's brains. People feel pushed. It just doesn't work. So, curiosity. When people ask me, Keith, if if there was one conversational strategy that you would suggest that I use to truly connect with people, it would be enter conversations with other humans practicing curiosity. Curiosity means I am listening to you deeply. Curiosity means I truly, authentically want to know, whether it's know you or truly understand exactly what you're telling me. Curiosity means I might enter our conversation with a certain viewpoint, but if I practice true curiosity, I'm giving myself permission to maybe even change my viewpoint after I listen to you, which is not easy for us human beings because we hold our opinions too tightly sometimes. Curiosity means I ask. So this would be another conversational strategy that illustrates curiosity. It's called asking questions for which you have no answer. So all of us have been in conversations with people where they're asking us questions, but it's pretty clear they're trying to still move us towards their perspective, their point of view. If I'm asking questions for which I have no answer, it's just as it said. I don't know, but I want to know more of how you see things. So, curiosity also, and this is not the easiest thing for us humans to do, curiosity means I need to quiet the opinions in my head. I need to quiet any sense of I'm right, you're wrong, to sit there quietly practicing curiosity. It is one of the most powerful conversational human connection strategies that anybody could bring to their interaction with another person.
Hmm. I sincerely appreciate your beautiful insight. It shows that curiosity plays a very, very vital role in how we relate, in how we give discussion. And it's also, as you said, pressuring doesn't work. It brings the eye signal that I think something is wrong somewhere. So if we are trying to force things, it usually do not work most of the time. Most of the time it does not work because it spark more signal or more alarm, as we said, through the brain that something isn't right somewhere. So curiosity already plays a lot of role in every single thing that we do, despite building a relationship and also building a sense of conversation that could lead to something more productive in the coming future. I would also like to drive to the point of emotional charge conversations and also how people can help to regulate their nervous system when they are involved in those such situation. So in a very, very high stake or emotionally charged conversation, Mr. Kate, what do you think are some of the simple practices that can help regulate the nervous system for both people involved in a conversation, Mr. Kate?
So the first thing I ask people to think about
Yes.
before I if you and I are about to sit down and have a conversation, and I know, let's just speak for me, there's some possibility it's going to get emotional, it's going to get intense. So one of the things that I urge people to think about is, because this is different from person to person, is what are the kinds of conversations that I know I tend to struggle with, certain topics, certain emotional states. So I might ask someone, if a certain emotion, this is the language I would use, walks in the room, are there certain emotions, anger, fear, resentment, sense of inadequacy, that just based on who you are as a human being, you struggle a little bit more with? So that's the first thing, to be a little bit mindful before we even walk in and have the conversation. Once we're in the conversation, if it gets heated, there's a few strategies that people can use. It is really okay to call a timeout, because I would make the argument, and this is very true in the workplace, most conversations in the workplace are an absolute waste of time. They're a waste of time because people are engaging in ways that are not productive. And so the conversation does not end where they want it to end. So here's another thing that people can think about in a heated conversation. Am I truly engaged in win-win? Do I want this conversation to be productive for both of us? But I start to feel myself getting revved up. Could call a timeout. Um, I could give voice to it. There is great evidence that when we are in some kind of strong emotional state, if we voice it, I'm feeling put upon right now, right? Or I'm starting to feel myself getting pretty annoyed, that just even voicing it can help lessen it. Here's the biggest strategy I believe we can use. And again, this is a planning strategy versus what do I do in the middle of it? Because sometimes in the middle of it, once once we're emotionally charged, we might just need to call a timeout and walk away. So there's a strategy I teach people called having a conversation about the conversation. If you and I met or we worked together and we knew we're going to interact with each other on a regular basis, we could sit down and have a conversation about the conversation. We could spend some time talking with each other about how we tend to approach conversations. We could talk with each other about what do we need from each other to develop a sense of trust. We could talk with each other about what strategies can we agree on now that we can use if our conversation starts to, let's say, go south. We're getting angry or annoyed with each other or frustrated. Now, it's always interesting when I propose this strategy of the conversation about the conversation, sometimes in the workplace, because people will often turn to me and say, "But Keith, that's going to take some time to have that preemptive conversation. I don't know if I have the time to do that." And my argument always is, okay, don't do it. But if you have someone that comes to mind that you interact with, that there just seems to be this tendency for our conversations to not connect. We get annoyed with each other. Then take the time to do this, because what you're telling me is the time you invest in the conversational world with this other person is a waste of time. It's not going anywhere. That Doing that work ahead of time, laying out essentially a map, a conversational map, a trust map of what you and I offer each other to increase the chances that our conversations will go well, that we'll both bring curiosity to the conversation. It's time well worth spent.
I sincerely appreciate your beautiful insights, Mr. Kate. There are several strategies we can use to deal with conversations and also ways that we can use to develop the conversations we have with people. We do know we are all busy in the life we find ourselves. We do know that some things are more difficult. Sometimes we feel more pressured. We feel the eye stake more when we're having some kind of conversation. But there are several ways we can try our best to regulate this conversation and also try our best to make sure we are being in the position whereby the nervous system is being regulated, and also the both of us are in a position whereby we are bringing out a profound and also an impactful conversation that could get to somewhere, that could lead to something that will be more productive later on. And that is one of the best things. I sincerely appreciate the strategies and also things that you also brought inside this conversation in regards to how we can actually balance the nervous system. And as you said earlier, even open ourselves up and make people understand our reaction as well. Those areas are one of the strategies that can also help us along the way. And also, I would like to drive to the point of difference between a neurologically and also between productive discomfort. What do you think, in your own experience, are the difference neurologically between productive discomfort that leads to growth and overwhelming threats that leads to shutdown, Mr. Kate?
Yeah, that's a really fine line. Wonderful question. Really fine line. I think, look, any level of discomfort that I experience, it's a message. It's a message from my brain, from my nervous system. It's telling me something. Do I need to work that muscle, right, as I go through life, become more comfortable with getting uncomfortable, practice self awareness so that I become aware of it quicker? That, oh, there is something I'm feeling uncomfortable about. Yes, yes to all of that. And depending upon the situation, it it tells me something and then I can react. At the very least, I think what it tells us is I might be interacting with someone who I'm having a little bit difficulty trusting. I might be interacting with someone where right now in the conversation I'm feeling put upon or the spotlight's on me. Now, let's use that again in the workplace. I'm a member of a team and somehow the conversation comes to me and I feel a little bit nervous and the spotlight's on me. That's a wonderful example of, okay, that's a good growth area. How do I want to get more comfortable in those moments? How do I want to practice this? Get maybe feedback from people I trust. But it is equally important, as you said, to recognize, to be aware of when I've crossed the line, kind of neurochemically. And now I'm in fight flight. I'm simply in fight flight. And we can't argue with fight flight. It's once again, it's telling us something. And so that's where we can now use some other strategies of what do I do to calm myself? Do I, again, take a time out? If it keeps happening between you and I, do you and I have a conversation about it? Um, do I start using some more mindfulness practices in my life in general to help just set a baseline that's more calm? Um, so so much of this, there's a there's a bias I have in my work in working with leaders, which is that leadership becoming awareness that is not just something you get out of reading a book on leadership, because leadership is a relationship. It's a relationship between me and maybe my team. And there are relationship rules that govern those relationships that are exactly the same as the rules that govern our relationships in our personal life. And so, if I am in a leadership role and I want to really enhance how I create relationships with people, I need to start with me. I need to start with, oh, okay, what's my history? What do I bring? What's my bias? Where do I get stuck sometimes? Um, so that I stay on that good side of that line you were just saying, and I invite the people I interact with to do the same.
Hmm. I sincerely appreciate your beautiful insight, Mr. Kate. Every single emotions we are when we are building conversation with someone usually have a message. If we feel comfortable, as you said earlier, in one way or the other, despite the kind of development or whether the conversation how it's flowing, it's always saying a message. And the message is all how we can try our best to work on some kind of perspective, or is also saying a message of risks as well. That this is actually defining or saying something that it's really, really not well or not going great as well. So when we are in a position in life, we will always, most of the time, when we do have conversations, we will always develop the sense of signals, some kind of emotions along the way. Sometimes we feel restricted, sometimes we feel like something isn't going well. And as you said, there are some kind of people that we can't do without, most especially if we're in a situation of leadership. We have to continue to, go along with such person. If we usually feel such kind of emotions towards such person, it's something we can also make a sense of dialogue and also discussion about. It's also one of the solutions as well. So we should try our best to see the sign as something that we need to work on, see it as a sign that we need to check on, and see it as a sign that we need to also use as a tool for us to grow and also develop as well. I sincerely appreciate you for that beautiful insight, Mr. Kate. And also, Mr. Kate, there is a question I normally ask during the end of the show. From our forefathers, from our ancestors, there are a lot of beautiful things that do exist during our ancestral time that is missing in our time today. If there is anyone or anything you would like to bring back to our time today, Mr. Kate, what do you think that thing will be, Mr. Kate?
And I don't even know when exactly this actually maybe existed. It might be more story than reality at any given time in our existence. But what popped into my head is accessing our ability to slow down, to just slow down. Our world is fast paced. It's crazy. It's frenetic. Um, speaking here, especially here in the States, it's divided. It's so divided. People are so divided and disconnected from each other. And if there was a way for us to slow down, take a breath, um, maybe somehow refine, refine a greater sense of community than I think we feel right now. That would be, I think that would be a gift to all of us.
Hmm. I totally agree with you, Mr. Kate. Most of us now, we are all living, most of us, we are living in a lonely world because the
Yeah.
technology has taken over. So every single thing, even if we want to connect with anyone, we can do it just on our phone. And that is the issue that we think we are, but we hope that community is something that we definitely work on because we need to slow down. The world is really fast paced, like everything is working very fast. People are not ready to give the sense of slowing down to actually, explore world, see how beautiful the flowers are, engage with people, and live life along with it. People are really in the fast pace, no time for a lot of things anymore. But we do hope that when we build a sense of community, it helps our nervous system. It helps us to build a sense of also relating with people more positively because we communicate with several people along the way, and it helps us along the way in terms of emotional support. And when we have some kind of pain and also ups and down as well, because that is the time we do know when we need this community and people we have around us. And also, Mr. Kate, with the great work you've done, and also the point of communication, which really plays a very powerful role, most especially in our time today. No matter how little our conversation is, it says a lot about us, most especially if it's the first time meeting such person. So I want to use this opportunity to thank you for the time, the opportunity you've given today to have this conversation and also impact the life of other people out there. Thank you so much, Mr. Kate.
Thank you for having me. I've thoroughly enjoyed our conversation.
All right, Mr. Kate. Have a wonderful day, Mr. Kate. Bye bye.
Take care.